Listen up, I got 5 gym secrets that I have never told a soul. Nobody knows about these. If you want faster gains, pay attention. Okay, when I first started out in the gym, I had no idea what I was doing, just like everybody else. When you're a beginner at something, you don't have any idea what you're doing. It's just a fact. You're a rookie, you're a newbie. So I was a rookie in the gym and I made all of the rookie mistakes that you could possibly think of. Bad form, not training right, not eating properly, not sleeping well, picking the wrong machines, doing workouts that I didn't like. Everything in the book I made a mistake on and I messed up. I would have loved to have had a guide just like this one where somebody said, hey, listen, you don't have to struggle anymore. I'm gonna break something down for you that's actually tangible and you can actually see results from it. So that's what I want to give to you in this video. So let me just cut to the chase here. Tip number 1 is a secret on the preacher curl bench. The preacher curl bench is already fantastic as it is. You get a fantastic squeeze right at the top of your rep. Your arms don't swing, your arms don't move. You are fully squeezing and stretching that muscle, that bicep, that short head. What if I told you there's a secret inside the secret? There's 2 different types of benches. There's one that's a machine that has the pull tab. You stick it into the weight. It has that. And then the other one has nothing, and it's just an easy bar, the divoted bar with weights on the side. The machine one is actually worse for you than the regular one. Why? Because you can't get a full range of motion on the machine one. It hits your forearm and you can't go all the way down. Your forearm hits the pad and it stops. A little bit more range of motion that you can go that'll really allow your biceps to get bigger. How do we discover that range of motion? The way that you go about it is you grab a dumbbell that's whatever weight you want with proper form. I don't want you to pick up a weight that you're slinging around and you cannot lift. That's not what we want to do. We don't want improper form on this exercise because improper form is going to ruin it. Improper form will completely spoil the whole thing and this tip will be useless. Grab a dumbbell, put one arm in the center of the pad. Hold the dumbbell and then go up and down like a regular preacher curl. You'll notice that at the very bottom of the rep that your arm will feel a very nice stretch. Nothing you can feel on a regular preacher curl bench. That stretch is allowing just a little bit more of your muscles to break apart a little bit, to tear a little bit more, to give you a slight advantage, but that compounds over time. That exercise feels so good. All the way down, you have more range of motion, so the rep is more difficult. You can also squeeze it higher at the top of the rep. How cool is that? You get a 2 for $1 in this preacher curl setup. You get a longer range at the bottom, you get more of a stretch at the bottom, and you get more of a squeeze up top. That's literally the best of both worlds in a preacher curl. With the regular preacher curl, you only really get a squeeze up top. You don't really get that stretch at the bottom. With my new method that I discovered, you get a method at the bottom. And if you really want to do it, if you really want to maximize this exercise, turn your body and position your arm on the pad and stretch your arm on the pad. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know the exact science behind this, but for some reason, you get an even better stretch when you turn your body to the side and you curl kind of sideways. I know it might sound a little weird, just trust me, it works. Tip number 2 is using machines to go to failure instead of regular free weights. Listen, free weights are phenomenal. And if you're a die-hard free weight person, by all means keep going with your free weights. But this is just what I've discovered is that you can go to failure with better form on a machine than you can with free weights. Let me explain. With free weights, you kind of have to use other parts of your body to get it up. On lateral raises, using the shoulders, you have to sling some of the weight up a little bit. With an exercise like a shoulder press, you don't have to do that. You can just push yourself to the absolute limit, and you also don't have to worry about injuring yourself by dropping the weight. If you're mid-lateral raise, and you're doing your thing and your arms get tired, you're not really gonna get a good range of motion anymore because your arms are tired and they can't go to where they once were able to go. And eventually you're gonna get tired, and you might get so tired that you accidentally throw the weight or drop the weight somewhere. You might drop it before you were actually at failure. You might think you're at failure, but then your arms can't hold the weight anymore. Your hands are getting tired. With a machine, you don't have to worry about that. You can just hop on the machine and you can just lift as much as you possibly can. Like with a shoulder press machine, you can just sit there and you can push yourself to the absolute limit. And if you fail, you fail. That's fine. You're supposed to fail anyway. It's just in a more controlled environment and you can go to failure more often. So that is a little tiny trick that I also discovered, but it's not gonna make as much of a difference as the preacher curl one that I said. You're still gonna build muscle as a person who enjoys free weights. If you wanna just solely do free weights, that's totally fine. You're still gonna build muscle, but for me, I just discovered that machines, they do a little better for me. And if you find that machines do a little better for you, I want you to follow that as well. Tip number 3 is on the legs, using hack squats than regular squats. Listen, I know so many people out there who love their squats, who love their Smith machine squats, who love their free weight squats, who love their dumbbell squats. And that's great. That's awesome. But there's a trick in the hack squat machine that no other machine has. You get more back support on the hack squat machine, and it allows you, without consciously thinking about form, because it holds your body in place, it allows you to go for deeper and deeper reps, and it gives you the same stretch as a squat. And I've noticed that it develops your glutes even more. I mean, who doesn't want to have big glutes? Like, come on now. I have found that hack squats, it allows for a deeper stretch at the bottom of the range of motion, in the back of your hamstrings, your glutes. And then when you push up, you feel it all in your quads. This is a 3 for $1 exercise. You get there's so much going on. And listen, squats are very similar to that, but they don't give you the proper support. So with the hack squat, you get the proper support and you don't have to worry about straining your back. Because when I was doing squats, I actually damaged my back a little bit. Now, I don't know if I was doing the form wrong or whatever, but the load was just way too much on my back. And I found that hack squats, it lightens the load while keeping the same amount of weight. Does that make sense? Some of the load is the machine itself. You're just lifting the machine. And when you put the plates on the side, you just add extra weight, add extra load without straining your back, and it's great. With squats, if you're lifting without a belt, and even with a belt sometimes, your back can move and you can strain the lower part of your back. Your lower back can get injured. To save you from injury, to build better glutes, to allow a better hamstring exercise, and to build better quads, go with the hack squat. I know it's fun to lift heavy weight on squat. I used to be that way, but I realized that it's not all about heavy weight. Form is better than heavy weight, because if you have heavy weight, but you're not targeting the muscle, what good is it? It does you no purpose, right? So you might as well lift an exercise that targets the muscle, and you can incrementally work up to heavier and heavier weight. That to me is better than just putting on a big weight just because it looks showy. If your form is good, size and strength will follow. That's just how that works. And honestly, if you want to dive deeper into that, Tom Platz is a great guy to look at. That was one of his mottos, is if your form is pure, size and strength will follow. Tip number 4 is your whole time in the gym. I see so many people that go into the gym for hours and hours and hours at a time, which is great, especially if you've never been in the gym before and you're really crushing it. You're in there for like 3-4 hours. That's great. But over time, you're gonna not see as much gains as if you would do less. That sounds kind of weird, right? But let me break it down. If you're in the gym for 4 hours, you have so much time, you're doing so many sets, and they're all just kind of meh sets. They're all just kind of just subpar, each and every one of them. There's a lot of them. That's great. But each one of them is subpar. You're not going to failure on any one of them. You're not even straining your muscles on them. You're just lifting for a set amount of reps and then putting the weight down. You're kind of just going through the motions, right? But with a shorter and sweeter workout, there's less time for error. There's less time for you to not care about the workouts. With a condensed workout, you're like, okay, I have X amount of time and I'm gonna do X amount of sets and exercises. I'm going to go to the limit on each one so that I can make the most out of my gains. And that makes sense. So going to failure on a small amount of sets is so much better than lollygagging on a bunch, because you're actually going to be straining the muscle. And after 2 exercises, even 1, if you push yourself hard enough, your muscles are already going to be fatigued and you're not going to be able to do very much else. Why not go all in a shorter amount of time, and so you can have more time to recover, which is a huge thing in the gym, by the way. That is massive. And that is tip number 5, is taking recovery seriously. I've seen so many people in the gym train hard and push themselves, but they don't recover properly and their gains take forever. The way to skyrocket your gains is not always in the gym. Like, listen, pushing yourself in the gym and going hard is great. It's awesome. But if you don't properly recover, it's gonna take way longer. If you don't implement proper protein intake, if you don't have protein throughout the day, and if you don't meet your protein goal with 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, if you weigh 170 pounds, then you should be taking in 170 grams of protein. You see how that works? You should be taking in protein, you should be sleeping well, and you should be eating enough, especially if you're on a bulk. I can speak from personal experience that when I was on a bulk, I was eating so improperly. I didn't even know. I had no idea. I was eating so little and I was doing such strenuous workouts and I was pushing myself so hard that my muscles could not recover, and I stayed at the same weight for a long time. And honestly, I even lost weight. I found out at a doctor's appointment one day, when, you know how they take your weight on the scale and whatever, that I had lost 7 pounds of body weight in the past year. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. This is so annoying. This is so frustrating. I don't know what's happening. This is ridiculous. So what I did is I went all in on my eating. I was like, okay, no more of this. I'm done. We need to go all in on eating. We need to eat more food. So that's what I did. I upped my calories by a lot, and in about a year, I gained 50 pounds. It was insane. It was absolutely crazy, just because I implemented proper recovery tactics. I was already pushing hard in the gym, but I was losing weight because I couldn't maintain it with the food that I was eating. That's insane, right? The effect alone that food can cause is ridiculous. Now I'm the biggest that I've ever been, sitting right around 200 pounds. I'm very, very proud of that. I will speak about that till the day that I die, how I put on 50 pounds in a year. So incredibly proud of that. Anyway, food is incredibly important. Protein allows for your muscles to recover faster. And another thing too that is also equally as important as food and protein is proper sleep. That is prime time recovery. That is when your body recovers the most. And the people who sell themselves short on sleep are the ones who are missing out on gains when they're not awake, because your body recovers the most when it's sleeping, repairs the damage that you've done in your workout. Why would you sell yourself short by poor sleep? So the way to get good sleep is to get yourself in a optimal sleep window is 7 to 9 hours actually asleep, and 8 to 10 hours actually in bed, because the time in bed is different than the time you're asleep. You toss and turn in the night. Maybe you're somebody who wakes up in the middle of the night and who kind of struggles to fall asleep sometimes. 7 hours in bed is probably going to equal about 5.5 hours of sleep, which is not ideal at all. You want to be getting 7 to 9 hours actually asleep. That is the prime time recovery window, and that is when your body will feel fully charged. You wouldn't charge your phone at 0.5%, right? You wouldn't want your phone to run out of juice midway through the day, right? So why do the same thing with your body? Not only are you missing out on gains, you're just gonna be tired. That sets yourself up for a poor workout the next day. Because if you're tired, you're just gonna go through the motions. You're gonna be like, I don't wanna be here. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. And then you're missing out. You've missed out on sleep, you've missed out on recovery, and you've missed out on a workout. Poor sleep is a massive chain reaction that can so easily be avoided. Okay, with everything being said, I want to do a quick recap of everything that I've talked about here. So, tip number 1, use preacher curls with a dumbbell instead of the preacher curl machine to get a bigger range of motion and a better stretch. Tip 2 is to use the machines fully to go to failure on exercises. Tip 3 is using hack squats instead of regular squats to get more development in your glutes, in your quads, and in your hamstrings, and to keep yourself safe from injury. That's great. Tip number 4 is to keep workouts short and sweet, to get in and get out, to maximize the time you have in the gym, and to maximize the time you have to recover. Tip number 5 is to take recovery seriously, because that's what drives a huge amount of progress, and that's what keeps your lifting sustainable, and that's what allows you to have great workouts. Small tweaks in the gym give massive results. If you follow these tips that I gave you in this video, your gains are gonna explode. Listen, I'm rooting for you. Go crush it. You got this.